Hello, my name is Yusef, and welcome to part 56 of the American Show. Let, let us begin. So, meanwhile, back in America, Susan was buzzing about last week's season premiere of the Susan Queen show. And she was talking to Randy about it. And she says, "Hey, I cannot wait into the second episode because I have some stuff that will blow the audience away. I cannot wait." And then Randy says, "Yeah, huh, well that's nice. I can't wait to." And then she got an idea. And then all of a sudden, an idea came into Wendy's head. She says, "Why don't I be a guest on your show?" And then and then Susan says, "That's a great idea. I mean, it will give me higher ratings, and also we can catch up whilst we're rehearsing." And then whilst we're rehearsing, we can catch up. And then Susan said, "Oh." And then Randy says, "Really, you do that too? You do that also?" And then and then and then Susan says, "What?" And then Randy says, "Yeah, oh really? I said you also do rehearsing." And then Sally and then Susan says, yes I do. I do the same thing as you actually. It's very important. It's very important that we rehearse. Everybody knows that. Even you know that." And then Randy says, "Well, I guess you're right. I mean, I can't wait to do my own show. I can't wait to go back to the American show myself. I have some ideas about what to do also. Maybe we can share notes," she says. And then Susan says, "Yeah, it'd be a good idea. I mean, I can't wait to have you as a guest tonight." And then Randy says, "Me too. I can't wait to can't wait to see what you can do on your own show. I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait also to be a guest on your show too." And then Randy says, "So the feelings are neutral," and they laughed, and Randy laughed. And so she asked the Alpha Queen residents. Alpha Queen comes into the house along with his wife, and they see Randy walking out the house, and they say hi to her, they say hello, and they say goodbye, and Sally, I mean Susan says, no, Alpha says that's cool, pointing to the outside, and then Susan says, "Yeah, she just came by for a visit. She just came by for a little bit visit." Sorry. Mm. And then Alfred says, "Really? I hope she gave you some great advice." And then Susan says, "Yeah, I I invited her as a guest on my show." And then Alfred says, "Well, that's a good idea. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. It would give you high ratings." And then Susan says, "That's what I said." And so it's settled. She's going to be a guest on my show. And she, um, Susan Queen says to her father, and Alfred says, "I guess it is." And they went out, and then they said, and then he says, I haven't spent time with you in a very long time. Do you want to go eat breakfast with me? And then Susan says, okay, no big deal. So they go into the limo and they eat and they go and drive to a breakfast place to get some breakfast. They get to the restaurant, they get seated at the table, and they just have a conversation about the show and all that stuff. They have a great conversation actually. She says, you know, I always, I always admired my mom for not only marrying you, but also keeping this family together. And Alfred says, well, well, I also did that too. And then, and then, and then Susan says, yeah, yeah, I know, but she did most of it also. And then, he says, yeah, I guess you're right. It was getting a little bit difficult at times dealing with my busy you know dealing with me as my at my busiest dealing it was getting a little bit difficult at times dealing with my busy stuff at work. I barely had time for her or you, and I just wanted to say I apologize. And then she whispered to herself, and then she said under her breath, okay, I guess, but your apology wasn't needed, man. I mean, you were busy, so. But okay, your apology wasn't needed, but okay. She said, she said under her breath. So they get their breakfast, they eat their breakfast, and as they were walking out the restaurant, they were talking some more. They talked all the way to the limo, and he just said how proud of her he was, and how grateful he was to know her as a daughter. You know what I mean? Just all that great stuff that a father should do, and he always does, and and he also says, you know, I can't wait to be a guest of your show too, honey. And then she says, no problem. Maybe tomorrow's show will have you as a guest. I don't know. Talk about the business and stuff like that. And then he says, that'd be great. And then she says, well, great. And you are a nice guest on the Susan Queen show. And so they were driving home. Well, the limo, and so the limo drove them home. It was the afternoon time. So she knew that she was a little bit late, as always. But that didn't bother the rest of her coworkers because it was a bit it was her show, and so it wasn't a big deal. mm, It wasn't a big deal to them, of course. And so she asked the limo driver, who's a girl, to drive her to the Alpha Queen studio so she could start rehearsing with the rest of her coworkers. And so that's what she did. So that's what the limo driver did. She dropped her off at the African Studios. She opened the door and they just started rehearsing. She went on the piano and started to rehearse new songs for the latest episode. She was singing and singing and singing, and as it was for 2 days at this point, a crowd of people started to gather around her, as she always loved to do. She sung the song that was going to be in that week in that week's episode, of course. And she was singing, and then finally she gets it right. You know what I mean? And she gets the script for for that day's monologue, for that night's monologue, I should say, after she sings well, the night song, of course. So the rehearsal is going pretty well. Alpha Queen comes into the well his studio to see what to you know to check up on how his latest new show is doing. And she says it's doing well, it's doing fine. And he says, great, keep up the good work. And then she says, it was a whole thing. And they laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. Yeah, I thought he was an asshole for no good reason at all. Anyway, she says, okay guys, do we got the setup together? She says to the crew. And then the girl says, and then the girls says, say, yes we do. Everything's great, everything's clear, everything's perfect. And then Susan says, great, wonderful. And then and then they finish rehearsing. She goes to her dressing room. She immediately starts doing push-ups and crutches, of course. And she does that 3 times. And as the last crutch is getting through, the countdown begins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The show starts, and she starts singing. Everything's going great. Everything's going just sublimely at this point. And she's doing a wonderful job singing the first song and delivering the jokes. And her first guest is Randy is Randy, and she welcomes her. She hugs her. She gives her a big hug, of course, and everybody's just laughing at that. And then they sit down. They talk about the American show and how great that show was doing at the time and how great that show was doing at the time. And everybody just have a good time. And then it's time for the last song. But this time it will be joined by Randy herself. So they did a duet. They uh they did a duet for the last song, of course. And that went perfectly. It went good splendidly actually. And so they finished the last song. They say goodnight. She says goodnight. And she gets out of the car. And well, she gets out of the studio, I should say. She gets into the car, and she asks the limo driver to drive her home. Everything is great. She gets home. She closes the door on her way to the behind her, I should say. And then she just walks upstairs to her bedroom and she just plops down on the bed, exhausted with her clothes on. And that was it. To be continued. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Well, this video. Sorry. And if you did, like the video, subscribe to my channel, comment on the video, um, also share the video. Once again, comment on the video, subscribe to my channel if you like me, share the video again, comment down below if you hate me or hate the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.